Welcome to 2 on the 10.
Oh, we back again, baby.
Hello, hello.
2 on the 10. I'm Paul.
I'm Mitch.
Greedy Nick.
Greedy.
Yeah, another week in the books, baby. How y'all doing?
Good, good. How about you?
Oh, this weekend was a little hard on the body, but recovering. On this Monday. But I'll be alright. You know me. I got that young blood, baby.
Okay. Where do you buy that from? Germany?
Hey, it's none of your business. Huh?
You go to the same place LeBron goes, or?
All in grown folk business. You don't need to know about none of that stuff.
We'll start calling you Blade. Wesley Snipes Jr.
Except, just so you know, Paul pays his taxes.
I do, damn it. All right, speaking of taxes and money, Greedy, I'm glad you brought this up. Wells Fargo is in the news again.
Speaking of greedy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Greedy, speaking of all's wells that ends wells.
Right? Stealing folks' money right now. I mean, this is the second time this year. Missing deposits. People have direct deposits, or people putting in money and stuff like that. And somehow these cats are losing it.
I'll just say this. I'm going to start with this over the top. If we did any of this shit, and as many times as they've done it, we'd be in prison forever.
Oh, without a doubt. That's what I'm saying is these financial institutions get away with so much. You are exactly right. If we did some of these financial crimes, we would be
Under the jail.
hauled off the jail,
Yep.
and thrown away the key, everything.
Do not pass go. Do not collect another 200 Wells Fargo dollars.
I mean, Wells Fargo has a history of being shady. I mean, this is the second time this year that deposits suddenly go missing. There's a lawsuit alleging racial bias where they had Spanish-speaking agents that try to push Spanish-speaking clients into crappier loans, basically, with higher fees and higher interest rates. And then wouldn't provide them with any Spanish documents. Everything was in English. So just try to screw them. And there was even some stuff where they were, denying loans for black people, and even went as far as underappraised homes on a refi.
Wow.
Because of the color of people's skin. And it's pretty crazy. They've had a long history. They paid billions in dollars in fines and fees for some of the stuff that they've done in the past. They had that big incident where they were creating, fake accounts for people.
2016 is definitely one of them. Over 1 million unauthorized accounts to meet sales goals.
Wow.
Yeah, so let's say you had a Wells Fargo credit card, they would take your information out of the system and then open up a bank account in your name, put some money in there just to have the account be able to hit their sales goals, and they would do it for anybody that ever came in. Anybody that came in, even if they had an account, they'd open an additional account without their knowledge or consent, so that they could, get commissioned on those.
I need to check. I need to check into that because I do got a big Wells Fargo credit card. So this kind of scared me a little bit. So
A secured $500 card?
yeah, it's one of them secured loans.
Prepaid, right? Prepaid card?
Prepaid
Green Dot? Shout out to Green Dot.
secured loan cards. I better go check that thing out to make sure they ain't opening up about six accounts in my name or something like that.
I mean, even that. I mean, this is all we're joking a little bit, but we're not joking. We're joking because, some people are sitting here crying from how far Wells Fargo has no Vaseline in them. I mean, let's be real. I mean, even in December of 22, I read an article that said they were ordered to pay $3.7 billion for illegal activity for unjust foreclosures and vehicle repossessions.
That's crazy.
I mean, come on. If this was any one of us or anybody we'd know, we'd be under the jail. You know?
No, how in the world are they allowed to get away with this? I just don't know.
I mean, they're one of the biggest and oldest banks in the U.S. Wells Fargo goes back, I don't even know how many hundreds of years, but I just think that they're just so well connected and they have so many people,
Is it too big to fail?
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
here's the thing. When it does fail, we'll be at the digital dollar. So,
Speaking of digital dollar, is this one of the, kind of catalysts to kind of get us to go down that hill?
I mean, it does seem like, could we create chaos, or psyop to get everybody to go, okay, this is enough. We're open to any other, we're begging for something else because this what we're doing doesn't work. I mean, it's possible. Very possible.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking, they're losing digital currency now when people are getting direct deposit. Imagine when it's truly digital and they could just be like, well, you don't have an account anymore. It just shuts off or disappears. Right. It's not like something I can go to the bank and be like, all right, F you, Wells Fargo, I'm pulling out my 10 grand. If it's digital, there's where do I put it?
Right. What about, I mean, the Fed now, right? Isn't that the coin that?
It happened to pop up after the Cash App founder got killed.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but isn't this the coin that they're kind of pushing?
I mean,
Are we going this direction?
digital currency.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, I mean, the Fed now, is that digital dollar or whatever it's going to be. I believe started in June or whatever. And is that going to be the end all for when the dollar gets replaced, the fiat dollar or whatever?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is. I mean, again, is it going to be that or is it going to be something else? I mean, who knows? But I do think it's coming. In fact, I'll ask you guys this. Do you guys think the digital dollar is going to, or when do you think that they will crash the paper dollar? And do you think the digital dollar will be a thing? And if so, when?
I don't think they're going to crash the dollar per se. I think they're just going to push us to more. I mean, right now, I don't know if I went down to, I forget the place where I was at, the Chop Shop, that's where I was at. They don't even take cash. So I think that's what you're going to start happening. You're going to start going into these shops, every grocery store, stuff like that, and they're not even going to take cash anymore. It's all going to be, you got to be on the card. And I think that's what I don't think they're going to crash the dollar, but they're trying to push us away from the dollar. That way, they can track us a lot more. I mean, that's what, they got the chip on there. We talk about this quite a bit going back and forth. We go back and talk about the mark on the beat, the mark of the beast, stuff like that. We talk about, chipping your kids and all that stuff like that. I think we're already here. I think the chip that's in your credit card that you
On the phones too?
Yeah, I mean that too, but the actual chip that's in the credit cards right now. I mean, they track all that
yeah.
right now. So if they push us towards a cashless society, then it's all trackable. So
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. It's just, I think they're going to add a couple more, importance to it, to where, identity theft. You got to know, again, people are going to beg for this shit, because again, you got to kind of trick people into asking for it or wanting it, in my opinion. And it's going to be, in my opinion, what's it called? The safety of your kids. That's going to be one of the first ones. Oh, we got to know where they're at. And, that's either through a chip, but even a chip, I think you could remove or whatever else and put in somebody else, So I'm wondering if it's going to be even deeper, like a Neuralink type thing, that eventually happens, like where it's in your brain type stuff and you're thinking about it and, it's all connected. I mean, I know it sounds so far-fetched, but the pace we're going and what they're talking about, I mean, from, is kind of creeping up fast. I mean, all you have to do, I know it's a different subject, but, still, it's out there is look at how quick alien disclosure is coming. like it went from 0 to 100 real quick,
Well, I just remember back in the day when, a lot of places were cash only.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was like, oh, you got the discount if you paid cash. And, I'm sure some of that was, hey, we don't have to claim all the sales if we get it all in cash. But I think that's kind of why the government wants everything to go digital, because they want to be able to track every dollar in every way and make sure they're getting their cut of that. Because right now with cash, I heard in some places, and I don't think it's in the U.S. right now, but they're saying that you can't buy anything over like $1,000 with cash, and that if you do, like, the companies could face fines that allow you to do that. I think their plan is to try to have control over the monetary system and be able to know exactly what money you owe in your taxes at any given time, and anytime they can come in and take your money if you don't pay your taxes, or they feel like it, or if you talk bad about them, or you do something.
See, that's a whole nother level, though. Talking bad, okay, paying your taxes is one thing, and the agreeable taxes of what it is, compared to what you can write off and what rules are for the write-offs and stuff, or the interpretations of the write-offs. It's kind of funny because if you have the right accountant that is a little more creative, you paid your taxes still. You know what I mean? But you paid less, because you had the creative accountant. It's kind of funny. This is not a fair playbook across the board, let's be honest. But with that said, it's one thing if it's just paying your taxes and making sure you're paying your due just of whatever that is. It's another thing if you are speaking out on something or giving your opinion, and this is more of a silence or erasing you from existence of.
Well, yeah, it starts out with, the tax, and then it's more about the form of control and controlling, your money and truly what you can spend it on and what you can do with it. Because if the government decides they don't like something or someone, they can make sure that you can't do business with that person or entity very easily by just saying, oh, the digital dollar isn't good here.
My government doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Right.
But going back to what you were saying, will they crash the dollar? I don't think that's.
I don't
I don't
think
think
they're
it's
going to
gonna
have to
ever
crash
happen.
the dollar. I think they're going to make it to where the dollar has no value anymore. You can't do anything with it.
Isn't that crashing the dollar?
No, but I mean,
Exactly, but-
that there's no place you can spend it. They're going to put so many.
Oh, you're talking about the
restrictions on it.
physical dollar.
Yeah, the physical dollar.
I got
So
you.
they're going to have to go digital because there's going to be no place that accepts your dollar anymore. You're not going to be able to spend over a certain amount in cash without it being scrutinized. I mean, you even see it now with like what they're trying to push with like PayPal and Venmo, where any transaction, or I think it's like $300.
600, yeah.
Or $600, they want you to claim it
form,
on your
tax
taxes.
form, yeah, yeah.
Really? Fill out a tax form.
That's why I do
It was
$5.99. It's
It was
$5.99.
actually supposed to go in this past year, but there was so much confusion about it and so many people complained that they pushed it back like a year or two. But that's coming, where if you spend more than $600 in Venmo or PayPal or Zelle or any of those
In one transaction, or is that
Yes.
over the course of the time?
in one transaction,
One
and then
transaction.
over a certain amount over the course of the year,
Gotcha.
they want to have a
1099 forms.
reconciliation of where did that money come from or where did it go?
1099 forms, you know? Yeah.
Yep.
They will send you them. Yeah, no, that's very, very true, very interesting, and very Orson, Orson,
What's the will?
1984-ish,
Yeah,
you know?
1984. I don't know. You know,
Orwellian, I should say, you know?
yeah. Here's my thing. Will we be around for all this? I don't know.
I mean, it seems like it's coming quicker than ever before. All the
Pause.
craziness, yes. That's what she said. But you just don't know what's going to really happen.
Oh, so
Shout out to the pause game, shout out to Harlem.
you wow.
Where's Fat Joe when you need him?
He doesn't play the pause game, but
doesn't
Dame
play.
Dash does, and so does my boy Cameron.
You a wild man. You a wild boy. Speaking of wild man, you got Kia and Hyundai got a recall going out on 200,000 cars right now.
You know, I was just championing them too. Just I've been talking to you guys about Kia and Hyundai, and I'll just say this: I was looking, a couple months ago. I'm a big fan of the Kia Stinger, and they're going to pull that car actually. I don't know if I liked it for 55 Gs, but you know what I mean. But like I think it's a cool little car. It's almost like Audi A7-ish, but it's got enough, engine, in it and stuff. So I was looking. I also like the Genesis lines, I mean, the SUV's dope, and the Genesis G70, G80, and shit, the G90 is like over $100,000 now. It's crazy.
Listen, you can throw a lipstick on a pig all you want, but it's still a pig. And the Kias and Hyundais, I mean, they've done. I talked a couple weeks.
What if the pig starts working out? Starts like getting like
Lifting weights and stuff like that.
testosterone shots.
Turns
gets,
into a boar.
Gets Rocky's trainer. You know what I mean? Like
Nah, man, nah. I talked about Barbie, doing some, hellified marketing. Kia and Hyundai, they have changed their image around tremendously.
that warranty is amazing though. Let's be
Well,
honest.
I mean, the
when they did the
warranties,
warranty,
man, I mean-
just for those that don't know, it's the powertrain's 10-year, 100,000 miles, and then the regular warranty for everything is 5 years, 60,000. That's the best warranty in the game for both of them.
Yeah, but if the warranty is there because the car keeps breaking down as a piece of shit, then
I don't think it's breaking. Here's the thing: the issues they're having now, at least from the 2012s on,
Right.
is not breaking down to my knowledge. Other than the one issue where the car can burn or catch fire. You want to talk about that?
The 200,000 cars that they're
Well, see, there's one issue that catches the car on fire.
I mean, that's just a
Man,
minor.
I'm sorry, Kia. I tried Hyundai.
What you got, Grady?
I'm just gonna speak on personal experience. So my boy Steve had a Hyundai S Coupe when we were growing up in college.
Scoop.
Yeah, we called it the Scoopra, and that was.
Wasn't it a one-cylinder?
It might not even had a cylinder. I think there was 3 mice in there
With a
running on a
transistor-
wheel.
transistor
But
battery.
That was the worst car I've ever driven in or driven. I remember one time we were leaving my parents' house, and he kicked it into reverse, and something popped, and he couldn't get the car to reverse. I guess like the gear shift underneath the car, there was like, instead of like a clamp, it was like a plastic ring that held it together.
Oh, wow.
The plastic ring in the heat here in Arizona snapped, and we had to drive like 3 miles in reverse to an auto shop so they can reattach a ring.
Holy shit! Could you imagine?
We drove down. We were
the
driving
street?
down the Main Street Greenway, which is now like
It's a busy ass street, too.
people go
Yeah.
like 60, 70 down the road sometimes.
Right.
The speed limit's 45. We're going in reverse in his
Holy
car.
shit.
Were you looking back?
Yeah, I was in the back seat looking out the back window, telling him, "Slow down, stop, move." That shit was.
Did you have your head out the
crazy.
window, or were you?
No, I was literally in the back seat looking out the back window.
Holy shit! That's
And then at one point when we got off onto the side streets, one of our buddies jumped on the back of the car and was like waving people like, move out of the way. And we drove it to this place, and it just, the damn thing just popped off, and the car was stuck in reverse. You couldn't get out of gear because the thing was broken. And another time, me and him were driving, we're coming up around the 101 heading home, and the whole, I don't know what happened, the engine or something just blew. The whole car filled up with smoke. We couldn't see anything out the front window. And we're going around like one of those big, huge loops to go from one freeway to the
Are
other.
you sure Steve wasn't hotboxing?
I wish it was that. And we came down that hill, we unrolled the windows to let some of that, the smoke out, and we just coasted down. The car had no power at that point.
That's how
we rolled
Steve
down to the edge of the ramp and just pulled off to the side. Sat there for like 2 hours waiting
I
for
said
a
it's
train.
broke, David.
Hey, I said it's broke. Pull the cord out.
That's a story for another day.
That's definitely a story for another day.
Once we
But,
get Ken in here to shine some light on that story, but
Hey, so you're telling me that the smoke inhalation from the Hyundai scoop is how Steve lost his hair?
it may be. No comment on that. No comment. But yeah, the Hyundais, I would never. I know I've heard they've come a long way.
They've come a long way from the
Yes.
90 horsepower scoop in
Yes.
93.
But I would never, just on that same reason, like growing up as a kid, my parents had a Ford station wagon that we were on our way to go on vacation, and we were going up north, heading up the hill towards Flagstaff, and the engine blew, and our vacation was canceled. And since then, I'm like, I'll never own a Ford. So I stick to Toyota, I stick to Lexus. But yeah, Hyundai, Kia even, it's just the name. It's like, once you have that reputation, it's hard to beat it.
Right, that's why I said it's like, putting lipstick on a pig. They're coming out with some hot-looking cars, but they got to run.
If Tiger Woods could drive one, I could drive one.
Oh, come on.
No, it's one thing if you're like a good manufacturer and then you have a slip up because you can come back from that. But I think when you just start out as you're just a shit brand and then you try to build, there's always going to be that in the back of people's heads like, yeah, is this really, like you said, Mitch, is this really worth 50, 60, 80 grand? Yeah. It's a Kia or it's a Hyundai.
Come on. I mean, Greedy.
It's not a Lexus.
Aren't these cars burning up? I mean, isn't that what's going on right now?
Yeah, I believe that's what's happening. They're catching fire. Yeah. I mean, it's only 200,000 of them. It's not like it's a ton or nothing, but what's a little fire, You know
what I mean?
That's good.
If you can't stand the heat, get the hell out the Kia. But no. The other thing too, though, and I hate bashing because I do like these brands. I like what they're trying to do.
Right.
They to me feel like since 2015ish to right now, they feel like what Honda and Toyota were in the 80s. You know what I mean? 80s and 90s, like great value, entry level stuff.
Right.
But definitely going to back it with their warranties and stuff. Stuff. So to see them take a stumble or a setback, sucks because I do root for the underdogs and I do root for value. And in this day and age of corporate America, to have that kind of a warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty powertrain, so your at least transmission and your engine are covered.
Right. But even back in the day, think about a Honda, man.
Yeah.
So a Honda, you knew this thing's going 300,000
Oh, definitely,
miles.
definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Same with Toyota, yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
Shit,
And that was back in the day.
Yeah, my Acura. I put 90,000 miles in 3 years on that bitch.
Right, but even back in the day, you knew they were good, reliable cars.
You just get an oil change, you rotate the tires, you're good.
Change your brakes every 70,000 miles.
Exactly.
Now, the thing about the Hyundai and the Kia, this isn't the only issue they had.
Yeah.
You talk about having a warranty. What good is a warranty when your car is getting stolen left and right as well?
And can't get insured.
Yeah, so they had a big issue where there was a glitch
In the Matrix.
in their software. I guess it was exposed on TikTok where people could easily steal the vehicles. All their vehicles from like 2012 to current are vulnerable to this, and someone could just come up and whatever they do, it sounds like it's super easy, and they could just steal the car. And they've been stealing them by the thousands to the point where, like Mitch said, insurance companies are either raising the rates or refusing to insure them at all because of the amount of thefts that are happening with their cars.
This is wild. Shout out to TikTok, man.
They expose a lot of shit.
Hey, listen. First of all, if you ain't got it, I got it on my. I got a TikTok phone. I don't have it on my regular phone because. Talk about the
You don't want
conspiracy
China to know
thing.
what you're doing?
Nah, I want China to know what I'm doing. So I got an actual TikTok phone where I got on. But you find out some interesting life hacks and stuff like that. And obviously you can find out how to steal a Kia or a Honda, a Hyundai right now. So
I think all the guys out there with boner phones are like, yeah, honey, this is my TikTok phone.
Definitely. Just to add
Player 101, baby.
Add to these numbers, though, 8.3 million vehicles are easy targets due to that software switch. switch, that they need to switch the softwares on. So 8.3 million vehicles. Now, it did say, though, it was most of the lower-end Kia vehicles, so if I did get that Stinger, I'd have been cool, but.
Sure.
Just might have burned up, but hey.
And then, all good. And some cities, including, I remember Minnesota was reporting 60% theft increase since last year in Kias.
Really?
Yeah,
Kia.
or 60% of the thefts. I should say 60% of the thefts in the city were Kias. Nearly 7 times the 2022 numbers. So that whatever was said on TikTok definitely has.
Well, it's like that advertiser. He says, "I want to see ya in a Kia." Well, the crooks took that to heart, and they went out and got themselves into there.
They didn't say you to buy it.
Buy it, lease it, or steal it. It's yours.
That is great. That is crazy, man. That is. Oh my gosh. See, always buy value. Value, brother. Just don't go for the cheap cars. If you're gonna go for, if you're gonna go for a cheap car, go like you said, Toyota, Honda.
Is that a cheap car? First of all, Toyota's ain't cheap.
Yeah.
Honda, you can get a Honda for like 15 grand.
Not anymore. You can't.
Not an entry level. You can't even get a Fit for 15 grand.
No, hey, I'm in the market for a car right now. I'm dealing with this shit.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'm looking at these new Priuses. These things are hotter than gold right now. I've called like 5 dealerships. I finally got. No one has one.
I just want to say, and this is a compliment, you look like a Prius driver.
Thank you. I mean, the new Priuses are kind of dope. They kind of have like a Tesla look to them a little bit. 50 plus miles per gallon. They got way more horsepower than.
So is this like when the 300C came out and looked like the Bentley?
Kind of, yes, but better. But man, I called like 4 different dealerships. No one has them. One place was just like, yeah, good luck. Another place told me I could get on a waiting list. They said that they get about 3 to 5 cars a month of the Priuses, and they have a 100-person wait list right now. So they told me realistically 8 to 12 months out. I'm reading online some people are waiting up to 2 years. And I'm like, how's that work if you buy a 2023 and they don't deliver till 2025? They just change the number. They just peel off this was a 2020. We'll just cross it out with some white out and make it a 25 now. But it's just crazy. And then the worst part is all the dealers are doing these, dealer markups where they're charging you above retail for these cars.
Right.
And one place I looked at was charging 10 G's above retail for a Toyota Prius.
Would you like to recommend them to our viewing audience?
I will not mention any names to protect the guilty and the innocent.
It's just drug dealing 101. You know what I'm saying?
It's supply and demand. The supply is low. And do I think that they're maliciously keeping the supply low? I believe so. They're still trying to say COVID and this and that, but a lot of manufacturers are back to full capacity since then.
Right.
And the cars should be, they're not making the 2020s or the 2021s anymore, or the 2022s. They're on the newer model. They should have that all ramped up and ready to go. So, and I know even like with the chip shortages, that's starting to come around, so they can't say it's because of chips. I just think that they're slow playing it because they know dealerships, instead of having to sell it, 3 to 5, 7 grand below MSRP, they can tack on 5 to 7 grand above MSRP, and everybody wins.
Yeah, true that. I don't know. All right, man. Well, did you hear what's going on in Alabama?
I heard a little something.
Well, so down in
There's a big wave in the water over there. A big splash,
So down in Montgomery, Alabama, there was a big fight on the Riverwalk down there. This Riverwalk is an historic. It's called the Front Park Historic Riverwalk since 1976. Montgomery's known for it was big in slave trading back in the day. It was a big port back then, and to give you kind of a little backstory, they have a bunch of what are those boats called?
Slave ships?
No, it was a riverboat.
The riverboat. What the fuck's wrong with you, bro?
Pause.
Yeah, definitely.
Hold on.
You give some of that. Yeah. This man's mind is out of here.
No, but so there was a city riverboat that was coming into dock. They had a part of the dock that was reserved for them, and there was a group of white gentlemen, which is a term I use very loosely, in a pontoon boat. So that should tell you all you need to know about them. Basically parked in the riverboat spot.
Right.
So one of the dock workers came over to say, "Hey, you got to move your shit. This is where our city boats park." Like 8 guys and a girl jumped this dude and started to beat the shit out of him because
Like
he asked them to move
wrong
their
turn
body.
4 or something.
Yeah.
Came down from the
So,
hills.
and I know there's some racial undertones to this whole thing, but at the end of the day, man, if I don't care what color, if my boy's getting beat up by like 8 fools, we all mobbing, we're gonna beat the shit out of them, you know? It don't matter. I was looking at this shit, I'm like, man, those guys deserve to get beat. I don't care what
Because
skin
cats,
tone or anything.
I don't know. Go check out this video. Cats jumped off the riverboat, swam there,
That dude swam across.
swam across.
Broke a lot of stereotypes, too.
Yeah, exactly. Got out.
I heard
mean,
Michael
cats were coming-
Phelps was impressed.
and they whooped the shit out of him.
Yeah, it was
and then I don't know if you saw the other video, but they grabbed the folding chair, was just whooping the shit. I mean,
They threw some of the people back into the water.
Yeah, threw them in the water. I thought they jumped on their boat, started
I thought it was the Titanic going down. It was every man, woman, or child for themselves.
it was WWE. He was like, this is the Rumble Royal.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he was busting over the head. I mean, they had cops out there, stuff like that.
I heard a lot of folks got arrested.
Yeah.
The most ironic thing to me was I've already seen like the TikTok videos and the reels and stuff,
Right.
like people playing on that stuff, or when the security guard threw his hat in the air.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they said it was like the bat signal. He threw it up, and then all of a sudden people just, hoo, come out of nowhere, hooty hoo.
Right. I don't know, man. And like I said, it's. I mean, it's just still. It's 2023. It's a shame that we still got this going on, but it's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And especially down there in the deep south, it's just what it is. But this is also the fuck around and find out era.
This is what I'll say. The one thing that satisfied me so much is because you see one guy getting jumped by like 8 or 9 people, and you're like, I don't care what the situation is, that's just fucked up.
Right.
But then to see the instant karma, like literally 2 minutes later, like 30 people jump off the boat and start whooping some ass.
You know what that one video?
I was like, oh yes,
minutes later.
instant karma. It was so great.
Right.
And then what's crazy is the little controversial is the girl that got hit or whatever, but she was part of that. So
There was a couple of them that took a shot.
I think I have a new motto right now. It's like act like a man, get these hands. Shout out to the Me Too movement.
Oh wow. We definitely gonna get some
Hashtag me too. I'm high.
I mean, if you're trying to jump some dude that's actually just doing his job,
Yeah.
And I mean, this is even before there's a racial undertone.
Yeah,
It
right.
doesn't matter what the guy's doing his job. He's working.
Yes.
He's captive. He's just trying to do a job, feed his family.
Yep.
And you come over here and you try to make his life shit, and then trying to jump on him for doing his job. I mean, literally. I mean, man. I applaud all those cats. I mean, and then if we, and then obviously the racial undertones to it. It's like, man. Again, it is what it is. I think they got what they deserved.
Oh no, that's what I said. We're in the fuck around and find out kind of movement right now. So that's what I'm saying is, if you're gonna start some shit, you better be able to finish it. You know what I'm saying, or get your ass whooped doing it. So,
I will say I watched the fight, and there was one of the white guys. Man, he could take a beating because he got hit like 14 times, like cold cocked by like 8 different dudes, and he was still up. He didn't go down, and he was stumbling everywhere, taking shots. But
listen, when you're off that liquor,
I'm like, damn.
said,
And those guys were throwing some shots. I was like, man, I would have took. The guy would have whiffed on me. I would have went down. Never mind. Taking just straight blow. Pow, pow, pow.
Come on, don't lie. You won't hit a man with glasses, will you?
you guys are wild. Speaking of fights, did we see the fight this past weekend with Nate Diaz and Jake Paul? What'd you think of it? Nick, you're a big fight guy.
I'm a big fight guy. I have mixed.
Before he lost some money to me because I'm actually a better fight expert, folks, than this man over here, Greedy. He's the gambler, but I'm
Like Kenny Rogers said, you got to know when to hold them, fold them, and walk away.
Exactly.
When to wipe your glasses and run.
But it's okay. It's okay.
Hey, Paul, how's your baseball bits doing?
Hey,
You can have the $20. I made more than that this weekend on baseball, baby. Hey, no, but I'm a long time boxing fan. I mean, I grew up. I would like to say part of the heyday when you had Hagler Hearns and Holyfield and Riddick Bowe and all these great fighters, Tyson, even George Foreman, and just all these great, and there's so many, the list goes on and on of these great boxers. And I would say over the last 10 years or so, boxing's kind of taken a seat to UFC. There's too many people involved, too many hands in the pot. They can't make the fights happen. And to see, just someone bring eyes back to the sport, I think is good. But when you actually watch the fights, they're kind of a joke. They're not real boxing matches. They try to make them out to be either of those guys, if they actually got in the ring with a true boxer, would get destroyed. I saw that Jake Paul's calling out Canelo Alvarez now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, he would get destroyed.
Yes.
I mean, he would get destroyed by smaller fighters. I mean,
Right.
it's just doesn't make sense. But, I mean, people keep paying for it, and people keep showing up to these events, so they're going to keep doing them.
And we keep talking about it.
Yep.
That's true. I mean, Mike Tyson came out and said, Jake Paul is saving boxing, and I was like, what? I mean, I love Iron Mike. You know what I'm saying? One of the greatest of all time. But for you to come out and say that, boxing is in disarray right now because, to me, it's a mockery. You know what I'm saying? It's you got this YouTuber. I mean, the dude is a great showman, great advertiser, stuff like that. But I mean, who has he fought? He ain't fought nobody
Average
serious.
fighter at best, and what is he, 7-1?
Yeah, I mean, and he's talking about, give me $10 million, I'll go fight Nate Diaz in the octagon. Yeah, of course. I mean, you're going to get mopped up because Nate Diaz will kill you in the octagon. I mean, that's his arena. But, you're going to win $10 million. It's all about money at this point. And that's what I'm saying is like.
Money and hype.
I think the one thing that they have shown is that even an average boxer is going to dust up any UFC fighter in a boxing match.
In a boxing,
they're not cut out for boxing.
Yeah, but vice versa. No boxer is going to come to the UFC. I mean, they're going to get submitted in 30, 45 seconds. That's what I'm saying is if Jake Paul tried to get into the octagon, he's going to try to. First thing he's going to do is try to catch a lucky punch, and if he does it, they're going to shoot on him, and then they're going to submit him.
Now, Jake Paul has a wrestling background. I mean, very good wrestling.
I mean, he does, but to me, I think he lasts luckily, maybe if he dances a little bit, a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes with Nate Diaz. I mean, I wouldn't pay. I mean, I'd love Dana White to put it together, but not for no $10 million.
Well, Dana White's not paying no $10 million.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That's gonna be Jake Paul's promotion, and probably with Nate Diaz's promotion.
Putting it together, yeah. I mean, people, like you said, people would watch it. I mean, it wouldn't be like a UFC sanctioned fight, but
Exactly.
people would
I
definitely.
mean, let's put it this way. People watch everything. They watch the train wreck on the side of the road when they're driving. That's why there's always traffic backup, at least in Arizona.
No, isn't Tyson Fury supposed to fight that heavyweight UFC guy?
What's his name?
Francis Ngannou?
Yeah,
Ngannou,
Ngannou,
yeah.
So even that fight, I mean, Ngannou is just an absolute animal and has power.
Mm-hmm.
But Tyson Fury, just the skill that guy has in boxing. I mean, he's outboxed some of the best fighters in boxing in the heavyweight division right now. I just don't see that.
Deontay
Ngannou has
Wilder
a chance.
probably has, behind Tyson, has probably the greatest knockout power I've seen from a heavyweight.
Yep.
And Tyson Fury got him 2 out of 3 times. So what do you think he's going to do to this dude?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting fight. I just don't see how Ngannou can beat him unless he catches him with just something crazy. But we've seen Tyson Fury get caught with a crazy punch and
Come up like the
got up like you,
Undertaker.
like raised from the dead. Yeah, just sit up, started dancing and shit.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And so I don't know. Like I said, I grew up on boxing. I love boxing. UFC is cool, but I really love boxing. I really hope these promoters and me and you agree. We talked about it a little bit earlier. The problem is there's too many promoters and there's too many sanctioning bodies.
Yep.
And soon as they figure out how to get rid of all these sanctioning bodies, maybe whittle it down to 1 or 2, and then kind of get all these promoters, which I doubt they will ever do because there's money involved.
They need to do like the BCS and just bring them all together under one governing body, but it'll just never happen. There's too much money, and all these sanctioning bodies, they push their fighters, make them, beat a bunch of scrubs, come 18-20-0, and then they, negotiate to have them fight some other boxer and make it look like it's a big fight when really, it's either 2 scrubs or 1 scrub fighting a good guy. And they just, the best of the best rarely get to fight each other. Now, the Spence-Crawford fight, that's one of the times 2 of the best fought each other somewhere in their prime. But that's the rarity. It's not the commonplace as it was, 20, 25 years ago in boxing.
So going back to the fight did Spence get exposed Or was Crawford just a better fighter?
Spence was exposed before he walked in the ring, it looked like.
He looked like he took a beating backstage before
seriously.
the fight started.
Seriously, I heard some rumors on that shit, which, they were like,
What's the rumors?
I don't know, just rumors that he wasn't, and it's no excuses, but he wasn't 100%. He wasn't 100%. They knew it going in, but they still wanted to get the payday.
Like he wasn't 100%. Like he got worked in his training camp.
Or maybe injured or something?
Yeah, injured, possibly. I've heard a few different things. And if you just even look at his body language, even how he walked in the ring, how he was, even before he got beat down,
Right.
like it just seemed like he wasn't with it.
Yeah, he lost before the fight started.
Yeah. And that's taking nothing away from. I still think what's it called?
Crawford.
Yeah,
Crawford,
Yeah.
he's 40-0 with 31 knockouts.
Yeah, he might be the best pound for pound fighter.
No,
period.
he is
Period.
right now the best.
I mean, they're saying that you keep
No,
going.
Florida's period is the best.
But this guy's taking all challengers at their highest pedigrees. So they're saying a couple more. If there's anybody else out there, and even when you have people, and I can't remember Shakur. When Shakur sparred, what's it called? Do you see that video where he sits there and goes, I thought I was amazing, and I'm sparring Bud Crawford, and he whooped my ass. He said it straight up. He goes, he whooped my ass. He humbled me.
Right.
I was young. I didn't even know. And I go, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. I'll go over there. And yeah, he whooped my ass. He goes, like something I've never seen. I've never been that dejected or discouraged. And we're talking Shakur saying this,
Right. I just had so many cats are saying Spence was going to do this, Spence was going to do this,
including one sitting across from you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I was like,
No, not against
have
Bud.
y'all seen what this man has done throughout his career? I mean, this cat has destroyed everybody that's come. I mean, he ain't been close.
And then he brings Eminem out to walk him out the ring. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm not even a big, Eminem stan, but to get that dude to come out, either costs a lot of money or you need some connections,
Speaking of Eminem, did you hear the new diss track that he put out?
I don't know what.
Talking shit about 50 Cent.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Or not 50 Cent, excuse me, The Game. And then a couple other rappers. It was crazy. He's like, because I guess The Game said that you never hear Eminem songs up in the club anymore. When do they play Eminem in the club? Right. And then Eminem's line in there was something like, the only reason they play you in the club is because you're still performing up in the club. And it was fire. And then he talks about Gen Zs and how they like talk trash on them. And he basically is like, all you're good for is shooting up schools, basically. Oh, wow. So it's pretty heated. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's Eminem brought some fire to that.
I mean, Eminem is arguably top 5 greatest lyricalists.
Better than Biggie?
No, I said top 5. I didn't say number 1.
I forgot. Yeah, Biggie, number 1.
Yeah, exactly. There is no doubt. Look at this man. Look at that destroying the set and shit.
And he crumbs.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
It's destroying the set. Goodness gracious.
I mean, is Biggie better than Harry Mack? TikTok fame? I'm just
Harry
curious.
Mack. Whoa. That dude is good, though.
Shout out to Harry Mack.
Yeah, Harry Mack is
He's
good.
dope. I mean, off the top.
He's very
I saw he did a off the top rap with
Ice Cube?
Ice Cube.
Yep.
And Ice Cube was even impressed. So
Listen, I'm going to tell you folks out there, if both of my co-hosts come up missing next week, it wasn't me.
It was Diddy.
It definitely
It was
wasn't.
Diddy or Suge Knight.
It definitely wasn't me.
Paul would just be there. Take that. Take that. Take that.
Pause in front of you, Nick. You get another one of your dreams.
Y'all are wild. All right, man. So, I always ask you guys at the top of the show, how your weekend and stuff was. Mitch, tell me. I know you had some plans this weekend. How was your weekend? How was the service? Everything like that.
Okay. Well, yeah. So me and my girl were gonna do a little staycation.
Okay.
I bought, and I'll just keep it real transparent. I bought one of these things. Like I remember when I got a hotel last year for something, they hit you up afterwards. Can you talk to one of our agents? Blah 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 blah. And they're like pitching you on this deal about spend $250, get 4 days, 3 nights at one of our resorts around the country.
Yep.
And I never did no shit like that. I never did the timeshare whatever pitch. Our boy Ken does it all the time. I guess he has like 10 of them, like he always does. Right. So I heard about him. I even went to Mexico one time with him and Arbagoza on one.
Yeah, the only thing you got to sit into like an hour and 30-minute presentation, right?
Okay, yeah, 2
then,
hours.
Yeah, and then after you tell them no, then they keep going and because of this, and they was like, oh, well, sit here for a second. They're gonna try to bring in a closer, and then she's gonna try to break down. Oh, you go on vacation stuff.
Yeah.
Listen, in the last 30 days, I went to 4 different countries.
Yeah.
I don't go to the same place all the time, So why would that make sense?
But no, but this one, okay, this one, I'll explain. I'll full disclose on this whole thing.
Go ahead.
So, first of all, I let the shit sit, and now I realize I got 1 month to use it, you know?
Right.
And because when I first was thinking, I'm like, okay,
That's
cool.
great.
I'm going to go to Tennessee or Texas, and by default, Vegas, you know? And then I'm looking, I'm like, man, I got this coming up or this, and man, you know, and so me and my girl talking, like, let's just do a staycation, you know, in Arizona over at the resort, you know, that we saw that it had. I'm like, okay, cool, this resort looked amazing, has like water slides, all the shit, you know, adult pool, everything else, looked real cool. And it was right by, like, you know, Lake Pleasant area. I'm not going to put them out there, but I'm sure people can already figure it out, but whatever. Okay, we decided to do that for this past weekend. So, you know, they hit me up, and it started getting annoying when they have somebody call me once, and they're like, okay, so who's going to be on the trip, you know? And then they start going, is it just going to be you? And I'm like, no, it's going to be me and my girl, whatever. Okay, so is she going to be part of is she come into the, I go, I'm sure she will, just to, you know, what's it called, because it's 2 hours or whatever. And she said, you know, she'd be down to check it out. Cool. That way I don't do that shit by myself, you know? But, so, okay, well, does she live with you? I go, why does that matter, you know? Oh, well, because the only people that live in the same residence are available. Okay, yeah, she lives with me. Cool. You know? Okay, well, then does it say that on her ID? Like, what are you, the feds? Like, you know, like, what the, like, hold on, how, you know, you didn't say all this shit when I was buying the shit. You were like begging me to buy the shit and go, oh, it's going to be amazing for you and whoever you want to bring, and you can bring up to 4 people and all this shit, you know, whatever. Now all of a sudden it's like you're trying to pull back and go, and then they're like, oh, and we just want to make sure you still qualify for this. I go, qualify? Hold on, let me just ask you. So if I don't qualify, do I get my $250 back from a year ago? No. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Like it's crazy how just blatant they are.
There's a stipulation.
Yeah, like it's like, and I'm like, okay. And then the funniest part is, okay, so I go, yeah, she lives with me, you know, just to say that, so, you know, whatever. And they're like, okay, well, please, if it's not on her ID, then please bring a bill that has your names on it, you know?
Both your names.
Yeah, or her name on it, you know? And I'm like, what if I pay the bills, you know? You know, whatever. And so it was just funny, that angle.
Right.
Then they call back to, oh, we're just confirming that you're going to show up and blah, blah, blah. If you don't show up, it's a $250 charge. I go, the $250 I paid already? No, an additional $250. I'm like, what? So hold on, and then they went into that. Then they started asking all this other shit. And then the agent on the phone goes, okay, and then do you make this? Do you do this? Do you do this? So qualifying me again, right? A year after the fact that they sold me on this great opportunity for me, you know, whatever. And then the one that just kind of got to me finally after like 4 or 5 stupid questions, she goes, and then, sir, do you speak English? And I go, no. You don't? What languages do you speak? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, you know.
I've been speaking English the whole time on the phone to you. Right?
And I just like, you got to. I go, you know what? I know, sweetheart, this is not you're reading from the script. But let me tell you, in writing many scripts and doing all this stuff, you don't have to read verbatim from the script. You know, I go, I know you're just doing your job, so it's not your fault. But, you know, when you told me that this call is monitored for, it's monitored for monitoring and training purposes and stuff, I hope somebody is really listening, because this is just pissing me off. I mean, you guys have no bedside manners right now. I know exactly what your intentions are. And, you know, if you expect me to buy a time from you guys, this is definitely not the customer service or even the you know, best way to go about it. You guys have already pissed me off, and it's already annoying to me. You know, I don't even want anything to do with you guys. So whoever's reading that, hopefully they hear that, you know. And I go, I know that's not you, so you have a great weekend. You know, whatever else I talked to her, but that was how it started.
Right.
So we ended up making dinner reservations, like I told you, over at Bourbon and Bones.
Okay.
You know, and it's going to be at 5 o'clock. We're checking in at 3. Whatever. We heard that the facility where you check in, which I thought was a little weird, is not on the property. Okay, not on the property. So I just go follow it to there. But we go, and there's a little place across the street from the property. So I'm like, okay, this must be it. It's just over here, whatever. We're trying to find where to check in. So we go to check in, and then they're like, okay, here you go. And just so you know, you're going to be staying at the Marriott, which is 20 minutes that way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's Courtyard Marriott or whatever.
Right.
Well, hold on, 20 minutes? No one said no 20 minutes. And when they showed me the rooms, they showed me rooms for this property.
Right.
You know, all the water slides and everything. So we packed, you know, different shit for this, bought a bunch of bottles for, you know, for the staycations.
So they're giving you an okie doke.
Yeah, it's like a bait and switch.
Right.
And so now I'm heated. I'm like, okay, and I'm talking to this girl. I go, is this how this normally works? Is this, I don't know, sir. There's a lot of different properties we have. And she's giving me this total, like, you know, I don't care and whatever else, you know, attitude with me. And now I'm frustrated. I go, well, I had planned, you know, on staying on this property. And, you know, we got dinner in 45 minutes, which we're going to go change, whatever else. And I'm like, I'm just going to say, fuck it and get a room. I go, if I get a room here at this property right now, regardless, what's it called? And I don't check into the other property. I don't need to be there. You know, I waste my $250. do I get fined another $250 for not showing up at the property? You know, oh, you don't know, you'll have to call our 1-800 number. And so I call them real quick and they'll see what they can do. I'm holding the phone for 15 minutes. They're not even answering or whatever. And then all of a sudden some dude answers. He can't hear me. You know, you're breaking up, sir. You're breaking up. I'm like, and finally they hang up and never call back.
Right.
And so I'm not waiting another 15 minutes to call back. But the funny thing is there's no customer service because you know what number I'm calling from. So why wouldn't somebody even care to call back? Obviously, it's almost like, here's what frustrates me is nowadays is, let's just make this so hard to follow through with anybody that can do anything for you that you just give up.
Right.
You know, you don't chase your money. You don't stop. It's too much trouble. It's not worth it.
Right.
You know, you just kind of abide by our rules and laws. So anyway, we end up going to the other property and I'm pissed off. I'm heated. I actually don't even show up to dinner till 6:15, a 5 o'clock dinner, you know.
Right.
Now, thankfully, my boy over there ordered everything for me. You know, it's 5:55. It got there at 6:10. It was perfect. He helped save the day, and you know, my girl was real like, you know, like, hey, don't worry, we're gonna make the best of this, whatever, cool. But I was pissed because you know when you make plans, you want to do it the right way.
Right.
I mean, we bought bottles of champagne. We did all this other shit for that resort. Now we're staying in a Courtyard Marriott.
Right.
You know, like a cookie cutter one. You know,
crazy.
like over. I mean, it worked out. But initially, I was fucking pissed.
You were heated.
I mean, that's not the vacation I spent, and that wasn't the customer service that anybody deserves,
Right.
And stuff. And so and then the okey doke, the bait and switch, all this other stuff, and there's nobody you could talk to, and the people that were there didn't give two shits, you know. I even went to the resort front desk. Hey, I'd like to book a room. Oh, we don't book rooms up here. You book them online or you do this. I'm like, what's the front desk for?
Right.
You know, like, so I tried to book online and I couldn't even get in because the Wi-Fi. So we start driving down the street, realized the rooms are all booked at that hotel.
Oh, wow.
So I couldn't book it anyway. So then we decided to go to Marriott, whatever. Ended up salvaging the night. Dinner was amazing. Went and was out with some friends.
Right.
The place we went to, I told you, Distillery, was right by our hotel.
Okay.
So it ended up being cool.
Right.
You know, and then like I said, the next 2 days were really cool. You know, and what's it called? You know,
Who's a country fan, you or your girl?
she is for sure, and it's actually grown on me a lot.
Really?
I actually like
Okay.
country. I actually like country now, to be honest.
Gotcha, I can't stand country.
Got to open your horizons, baby. No, but and then the one thing too is I'll say this on the whole trip, like kicking it at the pool, and then grabbing some food spots. I did take her to 2 food spots that I'm big on. One, of course, we're all big on Taco Brown.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
had to go to Taco Brown.
Well, first of all, I will stop you there. If you have not been to Taco Bell,
Exactly.
go. I'm just trying to tell you,
Don't be scared of the location.
yes, it's one of the most authentic Mexican spots that you will have.
Carne asada.
Oh my God, it's a carne
Even the
asada.
pork too. The pork.
The mixo.
Pork's delicious.
No,
Mixo.
have the mixo. Have the mixo.
Yeah.
Hands down, taco, burrito, quesadilla. I promise you, you will not be disappointed.
And then, no, definitely true and all that, And then also had to go to La Piazza, although he ran out of Roman pizza, but she got the experience and stuff. Got to meet Justin. Shout out to Justin again. Piazza makes an amazing,
his food's awesome.
His food's amazing. Got to check it out on 58th Ave in Glendale, downtown Glendale. And then the other thing I'll say is then had this bottle of champagne that I was very impressed with. It's called Tasserine. It's a brut rosé.
Okay.
Tasserine. It's about $70 a total wine.
Okay.
So it's not inexpensive, but it's not for how good I thought it was. Like, for that price point, I'm a Vu, Moet, whatever,
Yeah.
rosés. I'd say this rosé was definitely better.
Oh, it's better.
Yeah, it was definitely better than
Wow.
Vu and Moet.
Okay.
It's call me crazy, but I almost put it up with Ace of Spades, which is a $300 bottle, $400 bottle. And again, if you guys check it out, it's Tasserine, Brut Rosé, and it's got like the swivel glass, like that's the best way I can describe it, And so definitely amazing rosé champagne,
There you go.
Well, real quick, I just want to bring up, so I actually got suckered into a timeshare presentation in Vegas one time. I was there with my girl, and we were just walking, and they're like, oh, do you want to come? We're trying to go to a show, and we're looking at this place to buy tickets, and this guy taps me. He's like, oh, you guys going to see the show tonight? We're thinking about it. He's like, just come to an hour presentation. We'll give you 2 free tickets, and we'll give you $100 gambling, and we'll give you dinner for 2. And I'm like, well, the show's, it was like 2 in the afternoon, the show's at 8. And he's like, oh, you'll be back in plenty of time. So we're like, all right, fine. So we go and they take us into this room. And then all of a sudden this lady comes in. She's like, oh, and she's super nice. But she's like, oh, I want to go show you the property. So she makes us get in her car and we drive like 40 minutes off the strip.
Wow.
To this, I forget what property it was at the time. And then she walks us through like 3 different condos and talking about how you can rent these condos and this and that. And literally we spent like an hour and a half there. And I'm like, man, we got to get back. We want to have dinner before the show. And so we get back to the place, and it's like, it's now like 2 hours in. And then they're like, all right, now we're going to do the presentation. And they played like an hour-long video and stuff that you had to watch about the whole thing and everything you get. And then they came out and they tried to sell us. And I'm like, look, yeah, we've seen they're not interested. And like, next guy comes out. So now we're going 3-4 hours in. So now it's like 6 o'clock. And the show's at 8, and we're already like, well, we're not even going to go to dinner. And we're like, yeah. And they're like, oh, we're really sorry. It's too late for us to get you show tickets for today, but we can get you tickets for tomorrow. I'm like, we leave tomorrow. Right. Oh, we're really sorry about that. Well, we're still going to give you the $100 in gambling at this casino, and we're going to give you dinner for 2. And then find out that the dinner for 2 was like some place that was like off the strip that we had to go to. And then the gambling was only at one casino, and they gave you 2 $50 vouchers, but they can only use it in one hand. So I could only play 2 hands, so I had $50 a hand, and that was it, and we're done. So, and I'm like, well, we're supposed to get show tickets. And they're like, oh, well, instead we can offer you an additional $100 in gambling money. So I was like, and by this time it's like 6:37, we're starving. We haven't ate all day. We ended up leaving, and we took the gambling money. I don't think we won one hand, and we didn't even get to use the dinner. And we wasted like 5 hours of our day. And I was like, after that, I was like, I will never fall for this shit again.
Yeah.
Ever again. But
I think we all been victims of this timeshare stuff.
That's my first one, just so you know. My first one.
your first one,
Ever done.
Yeah.
And let me just say this in all fair disclosure. By the time it got to Sunday, I pushed it to Sunday 9 a.m. to go do the meeting. The people at the back end were super cool. They were super cool. They were very understanding. They were cool. The dude that gave the presentation was very lively. He actually was funny. He was very witty. Like, so, I mean, they did a great job. And, so I'll leave it at that. And their product was actually pretty impressive. It wasn't just one timeshare. It was buying in on so many points every year, and you get it putting in a trust and all this stuff. So it made some sense, and it had some value. But they definitely took note of how I was feeling. If they weren't so nice, I would have cussed them out too. Right. But I was like, you guys seem to be nice. You guys seem to be cool down there. If I'm going to share my experience of how pissed off I was, on Friday. I know it's not you guys, but this is when we made our notes. We did this. We're going to even wipe off your taxes on, because you still have to pay taxes on your. They wiped that off, so I paid 0 on my Marriott stay.
There you go.
I put timeshare people just one step above the multi-level marketing people. So just
right,
putting it out there.
Right above Amway?
Yes.
Yeah. Stay away. All right, man. Come to the end of the show, but we got to do our thoughts of the day. Mitchell?
All right, mine's gonna be pretty simple. I, in that same weekend, it was cool because the TV had Netflix or whatever. So, you go back between whatever you're doing, and then every once in a while you just want to chill, Netflix and chill, sip a little champagne or whatever. We watched, the comedian Joe Coy. He has a few Netflix specials. We watched one of them. And it was cool. It was cool to see, shout out to all my Filipino friends out there and stuff, to see a Filipino comedian out there doing his thing, on this big a stage. It's good to see everybody doing their thing, but I love when all different races, cultures are represented. And it was interesting because, and I can't remember exactly which show we watched on Netflix, but Joe Coy was saying that he tried to get Netflix to pick up his show, and they would turn him down all the fucking time. Like, no, not interested. And finally he goes, I'm going to take every dollar I have, because I believe in myself, and we're going to put it we'll pay for the show, And he goes, they decided to do that, and it was going to be for the 2016 Live in Seattle or whatever. And Netflix called 2 days beforehand and goes, hey, we hear you're funding your own show. Oh, we still don't want it. He's all fuck, whatever. But he ended up doing it.
There you go.
And then he went, he filmed it, whatever. And then he went to go do promo for it. Mm-hmm. And in the promo of one of the places that was going to do promo for the show, it was like a comedy special. They told him after they saw his routine, yeah, we love your routine, Joe, but can you please throw out the bit with your mom? Now if you guys know, that's the one that got him real famous. Right. The one where he talks, Joseph, he talks like a Filipino mom or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, why is that? That's too specific. He's like, specific or whatever he said. And he's like, and he just said, that damn, like just basically almost the racism or the gatekeepers that sit there. He goes, now no offense to this comedian because I think he's amazing, but you have Jeff Foxworthy going and talking, you might be a redneck, whatever, and that's fine and everybody loves that. But when I come to talk about my mom and my experience, and everybody has a mom, people can relate just on the mom thing. Moms are moms, Right. And he goes, yeah, my mom sounds a little different, but that's my mom. And I talk about that, and I'm not supposed to talk about that. Like, why does this feel different and stuff? So to see him double down, put all his money into everything because he believed in himself, and then to be able to just win off of that. And then actually Netflix was in the audience when he's doing this. He goes, and he's kind of making fun of the whole situation. It was just very, very inspiring and very touching because he really believed in himself. He doubled down on it, put his money where his mouth was. And basically he said, I was broke. It was really like, 50 Cent, get rich or die trying, And to see him succeed, man, I just got to applaud that. And the message, that I got from that is if you really believe in something, that's your passion, definitely, kick down the doors and do whatever it is. Don't let other people discourage you. Again, at the end of the day, you don't want to ask, what if I did this? What if I pursued my dream? What if I did try harder? But again, you got to give the effort. You got to, you got to put the time in, and you definitely, got to cultivate your talent, whatever. But I definitely want to applaud that. So my thought of the day is, definitely don't ask what if, don't, especially if that's something you really want. Pursue your dreams, and and again, wherever you fall after that, you'll be better off.
There you go, Gritty.
So mine here, I told you guys I've been looking for a car, and I had an experience with a Toyota dealership. I made a phone call to in Tempe, Arizona here. I'm not going to mention their name, but I'm sure you can look it up real easily because they're the only Toyota dealership in Tempe. But I called the guy just to inform that their website said they had a couple Priuses in. I wanted to look. I haven't seen the new Prius. I've heard good things. I wanted to, take one for a ride really.
I heard it's a chick magnet.
Because, the old Priuses are god-awful slow. And I heard they made some significant power increases and made it more sporty and look better. And so, me being an informed car buyer, I want to come out and look at the car and maybe take it for a test spin. So I call this dealership, and the guy answers the phone. Basically like, what can I help you with? Like, not even like nice. And I'm like, yeah, noticed online you guys have a couple Priuses. I just want to know, one, if you had them in stock, and two, if, I could come and take a look and maybe go for a test drive. And his response was, test drive? We don't do test drives. I got 100 people lined up waiting to buy this car sight unseen, and you want to do a test drive? And I was just like, well, yeah, I mean, are you getting any in? He's like, are you talking about the blue one online? I was like, no, actually the gray. The gray hasn't even shipped yet. It's still in port. The blue one we're expecting in, and if you even want to think you have a chance at doing a test drive, you got to be here within a half hour of the car arriving or it's going to be sold. And I'm just like, is this the customer service these days? Like, you have a customer that wants to just make an informed purchase, is genuinely looking to buy something, has the means to buy it, and you're just going to be like, it doesn't matter. And I'm just like, man, times have changed with car sales because they used to beg for your sale and, try to get somebody, we're all these incentives and this and that. And now it's like, take it or leave it. We have one coming in. If you want to buy it, just buy it sight unseen. And that's all you get. And it's like, nobody has like a knack for customer service and sales. It's like everybody just wants to, this is what it is and who cares? And if you don't like it, F you, we'll sell it to somebody else. And that's basically the mentality they had. And it was really off-putting. And I think that, it doesn't matter what the situation is. You could be the only guy selling something and be on the top of the world and everybody has to come to you to buy this product. You still have to have some form of customer service and some form of tact when dealing with the customer. I mean, you're talking $30,000, $40,000 purchase. Yep. And you're going to treat it like it's a $50 whatever, and just if you want it, just come buy it. You don't have to see it. Like, it just pissed me off. And I even though they may be one of the only places I could possibly get one of those cars, I would rather wait or not buy it than buy it from that company. So I'm just saying, do better on your customer service out there. And if you customers are calling you and genuinely interested in your product, treat them a little better.
There you go.
Bitch you.
Exactly.
My thought of the day is, it's hella hot down here. One of the things I do when I come off to these off ramps, you have these homeless people that are sitting on the side of the road, and most of the time I give them, change, and if I'm getting $1, they hold out a sign, especially if, they get kids and stuff like that. I'm definitely giving up. But one thing I do want, because I looked into this a little bit, and these guys, they're estimated making like $200 a day, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money and stuff like that. And so I rolled up on a dude the other day, and I always look at him, they're looking kind of grungy and stuff like that, looking like they've been out no. But this cat had nice jeans on. Yeah, his shirt was a little bit of dingy, but damn near brand new shoes. Okay, so
Red bottoms.
you know, and he's out there holding money and
Boots with the fur.
yeah, and I didn't give him I didn't give him money and.
Would you give him advice?
No, I just looked
ride?
at him. I got to look.
To another corner away from your house?
I just looked at him.
You want to send some AC for it? I'm going to drive you out of town and drop you off at the border.
I just looked at him and just shook my head because, what I'm telling people out is you got to discern from the true homeless people and the Joe Schmo out there trying to game the system. And so it just frustrates me too that you're going to do that. So if you're a listener out there that try to game the system, stop doing that shit. Okay, I'm sick of it. I'm gonna start calling you fuckers out too when I see you.
Hey, Paul, if you want to find some true homeless, I went to a Circle K right off of 44th Street in Washington. There's some true homeless sitting outside that place.
Okay.
They set up shop out there, and they're all looking for money. So if you want to give money to a true
I love
homeless,
giving out charity. I hate people trying to game the system.
Well, let me tell you this. I'll tell you that this one, I kind of appreciated at least the honesty. So there was a dude, it was a couple months ago, I was on the west side. I was, getting ready to go out. I think it was it was a Friday night or whatever. They went to Blue Martini or something. And, but before then I was driving down, like Thunderbird. And there was a dude with a sign out front, and it says "Too ugly to prostitute." And so I was like, man, yeah, he's got a point.
Right.
So at least that. And I remember in the early '90s when I was in Seattle visiting my mom or whatever, for Christmas or whatever, there was a dude that said, "I'm not gonna lie, I need a beer." That was when I first saw that sign ever. Obviously, that's been done many times after.
Right.
But those type of signs, at least if you're like creating a laugh or a joke or some creativity, at least too, not just give me your fucking money, or else type shit.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I'm not working.
Stop trying to game the system.
Yeah.
But on that note, we out of here. See you next week.
2 on the 10 podcast.
Out.